The Amish, a distinct people whose lifestyle offers a stark contrast to the hustle and innovations of the contemporary world, have their roots in 16th century Europe and have significantly evolved in America. Characterized by a strict adherence to ancestral traditions, deep faith, and a commitment to simplicity, the Amish live by Anabaptist principles, choosing a life on the margins of most modern conveniences, which deeply reflects their principles and perspective on life. As we delve into Amish existence, we are introduced to the depth of their beliefs, practices, and the communal cohesion that has sustained their way of life for generations. It is also crucial to acknowledge the debate surrounding practices like shunning, a mechanism by which Amish individuals who choose to abandon their traditions to integrate into modern society can be excluded by their own families, an extreme measure that reflects the tension between tradition and individuality within this community. In concluding this video, we will address controversial aspects of Amish culture that may surprise and perhaps alter one's perception of this community. This analysis forces us to reflect on our own lives, what we value in terms of community, technology, culture, and faith in a world that continues to evolve. The Amish existence goes beyond the mere preservation of ancient customs. It represents a vibrant and functional community that challenges the paradigms of modern society. The origins of the Amish can be traced back to the turbulent religious landscape of 16th century Europe, a time of intense upheaval and religious reforms. It was during this period that the Anabaptist movement gained strength, culminating in the formation of the Swiss Brethren, who opposed the conventions of the dominant Christianity. Jacob Ammon emerged as a prominent figure in this movement, giving rise to what we now know as the Amish. The doctrines he established, influenced by Mennonite beliefs, including the practice of adult baptism, emphasized the importance of simplicity, humility, and devotion in daily life. In the 18th century, seeking religious freedom, the Amish migrated to America along with other persecuted groups, establishing themselves as a distinct community. The search for religious freedom and a serene existence motivated the Amish to cross the Atlantic to the fertile lands of America, where they found a sanctuary for their spiritual practices and the opportunity to form communities aligned with their core values. They settled predominantly in rural areas, adopting a way of life intrinsically connected to the land and agricultural work. This early period in the United States was pivotal in shaping Amish culture as we know it today. This culture is built upon tight-knit communities, often isolated from the outside world, providing fertile ground for the flourishing of their unique traditions. Living on the fringes of the industrialized society that grew around them, the Amish cultivated a lifestyle that values collectivity and spiritual simplicity, while rejecting materialism and individualism. Today, it is estimated that the Amish population in the United States exceeds 370,000 individuals, with significant growth attributed to high birth rates and a relatively low number of dropouts. With large families, often having more than 6 children, the Amish see their community expanding rapidly. Geographically, the Amish predominantly reside in rural areas of the United States, with a notable presence in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, which together house the vast majority of Amish in the country. In addition to these states, other Amish communities are scattered across various Midwestern states, as well as in regions of the Northeast and even in the South, including unexpected locations like Florida and Texas. In Canada, the Amish presence totals approximately 6,000 people. Anchored in Anabaptist traditions, Amish values and beliefs reflect a deep connection to their historical roots. The Amish way of life is intentionally structured to shield itself from external influences, aiming to preserve an existence in harmony with their core principles. This deliberate choice of life is manifested in multiple aspects of their daily routine, from the distinctiveness of their clothing to their reluctance to embrace contemporary technologies. For the Amish, such practices are not seen as a rejection of progress, but as strategies to sustain a simple and focused way of life. By distancing themselves from materialism and self-centeredness through limited interaction with the outside society and avoiding modern technological conveniences, the Amish cultivate a way of life that values spiritual principles, family bonds, and community cohesion, contrasting with individualism and material success. Humility, simplicity, and a sense of community are not mere ideals, but tangible realities in Amish life. Their austere attire and the practices of intensive manual agricultural work illustrate a life free from the complications and distractions of the modern world. This simplicity also permeates their community relationships, where mutual support and collaboration are not only encouraged, but essential to their existence. Within Amish culture, clothing and appearance transcend mere aesthetics, reflecting rich symbolism and the observance of fundamental principles. The characteristic attire of the Amish, often seen as a marker of their distinctiveness from the outside world, is actually an expression of their dedication to modesty and a simple life. Men adopt sober attire, preferring neutral colors, simple-cut jackets without lapels, loose pants, and suspenders. The hats, which vary by location, signify membership in a particular group within the Amish community. Historically, beards were a common attribute among men in biblical times, which may explain the prevalence of voluminous beards among them. The absence of a beard, on the other hand, is common in unmarried men, who let it grow only after marriage, symbolizing their transition to adulthood. In the past era, the wearing of mustaches was a typical emblem of the military, reflecting a range of cultural practices, religious beliefs, and individual preferences. This tradition was marked by profound significance, varying according to cultural and temporal context. In contrast, in Amish cultures where mustaches are avoided to differentiate themselves from military customs, they adopt a beard without a mustache, symbolizing a commitment to peace and simplicity. Amish attire, characterized by modest and uniform clothing, aims to promote humility and a sense of community, avoiding ostentation and competition. Amish women dress discreetly, wearing long-sleeved dresses and wide skirts, complemented by aprons and shawls, while men, by avoiding mustaches, reinforce their community identity and distance themselves from symbols of power and vanity. The choice of traditional and biblical names among the Amish reflects values of family continuity and humility, with a preference for names that convey a deep connection to their roots and religious principles. These practices highlight a way of life that prioritizes simplicity, community cohesion, and spirituality, contrasting with the varied significance of mustaches in different cultures, where they can represent anything from masculinity and wisdom to discipline and authority. In Amish communities, surnames carry significant depth, marking the ancestry and heritage of families that trace back to the founders who settled in the United States. These names, often reflecting professions, characteristics, or geographic origins, are essential to identity within and outside their communities. The naming tradition, which includes the use of middle names and nicknames, helps differentiate individuals amid the prevalence of common names, while maintaining a connection to family and community roots. Amish culture is characterized by a unique approach to technology, opting for selective integration that aligns with their values of community, simplicity, and self-sufficiency. Contrary to common perception, they do not reject all technology. Instead, they make conscious choices about what to adopt, based on the potential impact on their way of life. For example, while they avoid public grid electricity, they use alternative forms of energy for essential operations, maintaining their separation from the modern world and reinforcing community unity. Vehicles are often discouraged due to the perception that they negatively impact collective well-being, encouraging unnecessary travel and undermining social cohesion. In contrast, technology is partially accepted, exemplified by the limited use of phones in shared spaces for specific purposes, reflecting a balance between modernity and tradition. This scenario highlights the ability of some communities to selectively integrate technological advancements while preserving their core principles. Rumspringa captures the attention of many for being a stage in the adolescence of young Amish, marked by greater freedom to explore outside their traditional communities. This time is intended for socializing with peers and seeking a marriage partner, contrary to the popular idea of a period for reckless behavior. The true essence of Rumspringa lies in the opportunity for socialization and eventually the decision to join the Amish church, reflecting a serious and long-term commitment to the community and its traditions. Contrary to what many believe, the Amish do not encourage rebellious behavior during Rumspringa. Young people have some leeway to test boundaries, which may include wearing non-Amish clothing and participating in activities considered worldly, such as parties and the use of modern technologies. However, most of these experiences tend to be milder than portrayed in the media, with activities like sports, singing gatherings, and trips being common and acceptable. This period is crucial not only for personal development, but also for the consolidation of Amish values, as the majority of young people choose to be baptized and remain in the community, reaffirming the strength of their beliefs and lifestyle. The cultural and educational heritage of the Amish deeply reflects their communal ethos and distinct way of life. Central to their identity is the Pennsylvania German dialect, transmitted in households and among community members, marking a clear distinction from their English-speaking neighbors. This language, besides serving as a vehicle for oral tradition, is crucial in preserving their history, values, and culture across generations. In parallel, High German is employed in religious and textual contexts, reinforcing ties with their ancestral legacy, while English, learned as a secondary language, facilitates interaction with the outside world. Amish education, unique in its approach, is conducted in one-room schools built by the community itself, where students of various ages learn together, with an emphasis on reading, math, writing, and penmanship, as well as subjects like history, geography, social studies, art, and science. Teachers, often unmarried women with education up to the 8th grade, guide learning in all 3 languages: Pennsylvania German, High German, and English, preparing students for both their lives within the community and external business interactions. We've come to the end of our video. I hope you've enjoyed this unique journey. Please leave a comment sharing your thoughts on the Amish way of life and which aspect you found most interesting.